How's it going, guys? Banshee Games here, and welcome back to Surviving in Drucker County. If you haven't seen the first two episodes in this series, I would highly recommend watching those before you see this episode, because everything that happens in this episode will make a lot more sense if you've seen the first two. If you have already seen the first two, then welcome back, and we're just going to go ahead and address the main objective of this episode, which is to move into the Barricaded Strip Mall now that we have enough people, as well as looking at the new update, including curveballs, which bring new mechanics and events to the game that can be good or bad for your community, just to keep the game a little bit interesting. There are a couple other things that happen in this video, but you'll just have to wait and see. I hope you guys enjoy. Let's just jump right into it. One of the first things that I wanted to do before making the actual move was revisiting a play cart location from the previous episode. As some of you may remember, I stashed a lot of the loot that I got from the play cart in a nearby Ranger SUV. And on top of this being one of my favorite vehicles in the game, I didn't feel like leaving the loot there. I wanted to get it. So one of the first things that I did was took a couple of gas cans and ran my way out to the play cart, because I didn't want to have to come back here later. After that, I made my way over to the Barricaded Strip Mall, took out any remaining zombies in the area so that I'd actually be able to claim my base, and decided it was time to get to work. Now, this base came with two built-in facilities that I didn't think were necessary, one being the laundromat and the other being the liquor store, so I immediately decided to scrap the both of those so I'd have more room to build other facilities.
The only thing this motherfucking ruckus is bringing is more zombies.
My first major decision was building two farms on the northwest side of my base for food production. While waiting for my farms to be built, I decided to take Zach and myself to a nearby town to see what I could find in the area. The first thing that caught my attention was this Jeep because I hadn't seen it in the game before, and the second thing was a supply drop that was nearby. When we arrived, I didn't find anything too useful other than high trade value items, so if there were communities nearby, I would be able to get more influence, so that's cool. On the way back to base, this one Juggernaut thought it would be a good idea to beat the brakes off of Zach. Thankfully, I was nearby and I was able to intervene in time before he sustained any heavy damage. I think Zach is going to think long and carefully next time about getting too close for comfort with these things. After dealing with the Juggernaut, I figured it was about time to take down another play cart. This thing went down fast and easy, I didn't have any issues with it, but then, disaster struck. I hadn't been paying attention to curveballs. And then, this happened.
I think I might keep this. I'm not sure I can walk this off.
This was hands down the closest call in the entire series. What I didn't realize is the curveball that was active infused zombies with gasoline, and if you shot them, they exploded. And I almost lost Diego just now. After that close call with Diego, I decided to head back to base and swap to Michaela, give him a break. First thing I did with her was upgrade the taxi into the Kaiser, which is this monster of a car. And my personal favorite, I turned that green Desperado Jeep that I had found into the Trail Beast. I mean, seriously, look at this thing. It's even got antlers on the front. After realizing I had access to the DLC thanks to Xbox Game Pass, I immediately started testing out all the exclusive content that I now had access to. This is by far my favorite consumable. It's called the Rain of Fire, and it's great at taking on crowds. Just be careful when you use it. Next up, I took Jigsaw and tried out the Starshank launcher. It's basically just a firework and a bazooka in one. After that, I tried the Pyro launcher, which is now my favorite weapon in the game, because it's basically just a flamethrower. I even got the chance to use it on a feral, so I was able to test out how effective it was.
No more ammo here.
Mia's one of the OGs, and she's been in the community since day one. But unfortunately, after the move, she decided to pick fights with the survivors around the community and started to lower the morale of others just because she wasn't happy with how things were going. So, even though she was a doctor, I had Jigsaw now so she could fill that role. I decided to give her the boot and kick her out of the community. So now it's time for a basic update of the overall layout of my base. Thankfully, the morale has improved significantly since Mia left, so clearly kicking her out was the right decision. At the northeast side of my base, I have a auto shop and a workshop for upgrading vehicles, repairing weapons, that sort of thing. And I have a bunch of indoor beds so people can sleep inside. Since Jigsaw was on a roll and doing a lot of good things for the community, I decided to take her across the street and clear out a nearby infestation, further cementing her into the community as the new doctor. I began to have issues with the nearby group of survivors. They were always demanding for supplies, food, medicine, ammo, pretty much anything that they felt they wanted, and they never gave us anything in return. So I figured it was time to bust out Sheriff Slingshot and give them two options: leave town or get kicked out of town. This is what happened.
Okay, I had enough of you. I'm gonna put you in the fucking ground.
I don't think you should be creeping around here.
Moral of the story: don't mess with the sheriff. It was at this point that I realized that my community really started working as a team, and the synergy overall was just on point. These zombies started crawling over the walls and getting into our base, and we had to take them out from the inside. I started tackling and pushing over zombies, and immediately two of my other guys, Michaela and Diego, were right behind me, making sure that I didn't get snuck up on from behind. They had my back and I had theirs. It wasn't over though, because on the west side of the base, a couple more plague zombies were trying to get in from that side. Thankfully though, I'm pretty experienced with the combat, and it didn't take me long to take out the three of them. The real eye-opener, however, was when a feral jumped into the base and tackled me to the floor. I was expecting to fend him off myself, but I didn't have to. Within seconds, everybody in the community was right there at the door, and they proceeded to beat the brakes out of this feral. I mean, seriously, it was like a 5v1. It was at this point I realized it was no longer community. It was a family. And that's pretty much it, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like. And if you find yourself coming back to my content, consider subscribing. That way you don't miss out on any future content I put out. As of right now, State of Decay 2, Surviving in Drucker County, Part 4, also known as the final episode, is going to be posted on Sunday of next week. If that changes for whatever reason, Saturday of next week, there will be a Naraka Blade Point video that I will post, and it will tell you the new date of the final part of this series. So, if Saturday morning I post a Naraka Blade Point video, that means that the final part of this series is being postponed to a later day in the week. So, keep an eye out for either of those two videos. Without further ado, I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys stay safe, make sure you're eating properly, getting enough sleep, and that's pretty much all I got. In the meantime, stay safe, guys. Peace out.